Okay. Hi everyone. I want to introduce you to someone very special. This is Pete.
Hi guys.
So Pete's here today to talk to us about what's happening in the industry, what we need to be aware of, and who better to ask than the guru himself. So
Gnu.
Yeah,
The Gnu.
The Gnu. So Pete, tell us a little bit more about you.
Hi, I'm Pete, and I'm 50. No, I've worked in the aesthetics. Well, I was a journalist for a long time, and then I had my own apparel marketing company, and came back to the UK after living in South Africa for 10 years, and started working in the aesthetics industry, doing some business consultancy.
Stuff.
Yeah, and I got really, I don't know why, it's really boring, but I got really interested in the sort of legal framework and the fact that it's like mental. There's
Absolutely.
no rules and there's no, you don't have to have any qualifications and all of that stuff. And that really interested me, especially when people started talking about, hang on, we've got to do something about this.
Well, you seem to have a bit of a reputation to be the man to go to about anything regulation, anything aesthetic law. So
all the really boring
all the
stuff.
good stuff,
really
all
boring
the good stuff. Yeah.
You guys do all the really exciting stuff and make pots of cash, and I sit here going, well, there's a law coming.
We wish.
So, yeah, no, I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. So I've tried to get quite close to it, because the law's changing.
Yeah.
You know, we know it's changing.
So if we get asked all the time, obviously we're a training school, and we'll get asked every single day, what can I do, or what's happening, is it happening? And I think a lot of people have this disbelief because there's always been this narrative in the background that things are going to change, and I think people think it's not going to happen. It is happening. So what is your advice then to someone who's listening in and goes, right, I'm in this industry, oh, maybe I shouldn't bother this time because it's never going to happen? What would you say to them?
Well, the law is going to change. The law has changed, so it came into effect in April, May. The law to make the law came into effect, so it's going to change. When does it happen? There have been new calls for it to happen by July next year. The government itself has been, changing a bit. They've had a few issues to deal with.
To say a few.
But the latest time is 2 years.
Yeah.
And then the law will come in, and it'll be for medics and non-medics. It's going to be for everyone. Whether you're a doctor or a nurse or whoever you are, you're going to have a nationally recognised qualification.
So I think one of the questions that I get asked, and this is what I've tried to explain to people, is when I've had this conversation with people, they've turned around to me and said, I've got a level 7, I've got a master's. And it's trying to explain to them it doesn't exist yet, essentially.
Correct.
So you may have a level 7, I have a master's, but not in
aesthetics.
In aesthetics. And I think that's what we're trying to convey, whether you're a medic or you're a non-medic. This is impacting you and all these people are saying this qualification, have this, it will set you free. It doesn't, because it's not there yet.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist, so how can it?
No, so the government have said we are going to make everybody have a qualification in aesthetics.
Yeah.
That qualification does not yet exist.
Yeah, and
there
I think that's key.
Correct, doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There are qualifications that might look like what the government says it's going to be. They probably will look like what it says, but you're going to have this one. Yeah. And if you've got something now, it's not this one, is it? Because like you said, it doesn't exist. But there are things that you can do now to get ready. Get regulation ready. Okay.
So what would you say then for someone listening in terms of what they can do now to get ready?
Okay. What would I do? There's a thing called Recognition of Prior Learning, RPL. Now, virtually every course in the country, whether you're doing bricklaying or mending fridges or whatever it is, they'll recognise RPL. Yeah. RPL is really, really interesting and really important because recognised prior learning means that if I've done nothing in the last 5 years and I want to do a level, whatever it's called, let's call it level 7 in aesthetics, they'll say, okay, show me your RPL to save you time and money so you don't have to do the whole course. Yeah. I've got to prove that over the last however long it is that all the stuff I've done is acceptable for that course. So all my record keeping, all my treatments, all my adverse effects, everything I've ever done, I should have written it down so I can show you, Mr. New Course, Mrs. New Course, my new level 7. I don't have to do that because I've already done it. And saying, oh, I've already done it, I've got 13 years experience, is not going to cut it.
Absolutely.
No, you're going to have to absolutely prove it.
Yeah, and I think that's key. I think it's all well and good. I've had this conversation myself, and I've gone, the problem is, I think when you've been in aesthetics for as long as I have, and even longer for other people, you kind of just crack on. You don't necessarily save it. You look at case studies, you look at journals, you look at articles, but it doesn't mean that you're storing them. And we've got to get back in the habit, like you say, of proving we know it, not just saying we know it.
Yeah, because I mean, you're probably a really good example, and we've not practiced this or anything, have we? You're probably a really good example. You are probably one of the most experienced, most qualified people doing this in this country.
That's a bold statement, but I'll take it. I
said probably. I did say probably. But you know, how many procedures have you done in the last 5 years? I mean,
I couldn't even tell you.
You know, hundreds.
Absolutely.
How many? If I said to you, right, hi, Kate, can you prove to me how many you've done, and how many were successsul, and how many had an adverse effect? Could you come to me and say, there you go, Pete, there are the records?
Exactly.
I don't know. You probably couldn't.
I think we're quite organised here, and we always try and keep these habits, and I think that's the nursey head. You know, anyone who's done nursing, you know, you've got your OAR and you're always getting your books and you keep records of everything. But I think knowing what we have to put together is key, because if we can start doing it now, we're already going to do the work.
You've done the work.
We just need to know what we need to do, so we're ready. Saving us time and money.
Yeah, saving time and money. So when you come to do the course, let's say it's 180 guided learning hours. Yeah. And then you've got to do an exam and assessments, because everybody will have to prove competency.
Yeah.
It's called proving competency.
Yeah.
You've got to show somebody that you're not dangerous, that you're safe and you're competent in your procedures. The theory stuff and all the proof that, can you show me you've done 40 lips? Can you show me you've done 40 cheek, jaw, chins? Can you show me 40 examples of whatever it is you do? Mm-hmm. And if you can't, you're going to have to do them.
Yeah.
So if you can show me the 40, because it'll be big numbers, I need to see 40 examples of lips. Mm-hmm. I need to see 40 examples of before and after of forehead or whatever it is. You can tell I'm not a practitioner. I can't remember the name.
I was saying go with it there.
So have you got examples of 40 foreheads before and afters with testimonials from those 40 people saying, absolutely, I didn't have to go to the hospital because, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Have you got all the examples of the products you've used? Have you got all the examples of the people who've come back and said, have you noted every article you've read for your CPD hours? Have you written what it did for your business? Yeah. This is what RPL is. You know, I've been quite commercial about it because I've decided to create an RPL course that tells people and teaches people how you can start now to when regulation comes in, what you do every day, you're doing it every day. Record it, chart it in a proper professional way, so that when it comes to it, you've done as much as you can before we know what the qualification is.
I know for a fact, like, there is always this dialogue amongst my students, this fear, this inane fear that their world is going to be taken from them. And that is what I hear all the time, and they have this fear. And I think it's about dispersing that fear and saying, you don't need to be worried. You don't need to be panicked and running around for a level 7. It doesn't exist. Big, huge statement. We need to stress that. But there is stuff people can do now. And obviously Pete is telling you a little bit about this at this RPL course, and it's something that we're all going to be jumping in on, because the way I see it is we're doing this already. It's not anything special. We're doing this day to day. If you're practicing safely and appropriately, you're going to be doing all this anyway. So it's about getting the logs, making records of all that, so you're ready. And I think this is what's so amazing about this course. You know, it's essentially teaching you to become better anyway.
Well, I was just going to say, that's coming into my head as you're talking. It's like, if you're not doing this, you're not going to be able to qualify because you're not good enough. You know, you should be doing these things, and that's one of the reasons why the law is changing to protect the public. And everybody's going to have the ability to do these courses. The government's not going to say you're a non-medic, you can't do aesthetics. That's rubbish. You can, you absolutely can, but you're going to have to pass the course. To pass the course, start practicing now. Do the things the right way. You know, record before and afters. You're probably doing it, but record them properly. Take the photographs from the right angle, because when you do your course, they're going to say, right, I'm terribly sorry, you've taken those photographs from the wrong angle. Oh, well, I've done 40 of them, or no. So do the things the right way, you know, and learn from the best. You know.
I think it's just about, you know, it's the whole time thing. I think there's this lot of talk, how long is this going to be? Is it years? How much is it going to cost? So if you can save yourself that time, if you can save yourself that money, it's a no-brainer to me.
Well,
you know, and essentially you're learning, you're doing it now already.
Well, you're doing it every day.
Every day.
You're doing it,
so it's not
you just don't know. You're probably not doing some of it. You're probably actually, I know we've had a little bit of a conversation. There's some stuff that you're not doing. If you read an article on a new procedure, if you make notes about what that did for your business and how it improved your knowledge and learning, it's only a few paragraphs. Absolutely. That counts towards RPL. You know, you come to somebody at the end when you have to do your course eventually, and you go, look at this folder here of all my stuff, and they're going to go, right, okay, straight to exam.
Yeah. But I think this is great, because if you work in any healthcare profession, you have to do this anyway. You have to revalidate. You have to prove you're competent. This is no different. This is a healthcare profession. So we should do this anyway. We should do this, and I think many people do this. We're just not going to get the credit if we don't keep logs. So this is why this is great. So how can people then get more information about this course? Where do we go from here?
That's a really, really good question. I'll put a link. We'll have a link on this video that people can just go and sign up for more information, and we can talk to them about how to do it. Perfect. You know, we're launching the course now. Yeah, perfect. So thank you. Pleasure. But people shouldn't be scared.
No, absolutely not.
People are scared of change.
Yeah.
You know, change.
This is good. This is a good change. It's necessary.
The other thing I'd just mention quickly is you're going to have a premises licence as well. And that's, okay, what's that going to look like? Well, we'll come to that later, but it's, you know, what does the floor have to look like? You can't have carpets. You've got to have the proper. You're going to have a sink in your treatment room. It's not mad stuff.
But it's about knowing what you need to get ready.
About knowing what you need to get ready. You know, an inspector would come in here and go, "Yeah, that's cool. Your floors are. Yeah, you can clean the floors. You've got sinks. You've got stuff on your chairs and all those good and great stuff." It's to stop the cowboys. Yeah, that's all it is. And if you're professional and you're keen to understand what it's going to look like, you'll be fine. And
I think this is good, because those people who spend every single day worried that it's going to be taken away, they'll get their seat at the table. Yeah. If you're competent in doing things right, you'll finally get that acknowledgement. Correct. So I think this is a good thing. Correct. It's all very positive.
100%.
Amazing. So I'm going to put that link up. If you need any more information or any questions, you can contact me, and we can put some information up about the course as well. Thanks, Pete.
Pleasure.